On this 3D ghost printing law coming up. Sorry, you've spoken a lot today. You brought it up. So my question is, what problem is this solving? We already have a law. Well, we kind of already have two laws. We have them coming into effect in August with SB 25003. There's a whole bunch of stuff about manufacturing, and then we have, I believe it was SB 23279, which is against prohibits manufacturing firearms without serial numbers. So I guess again, my question is, what problem issue does this solve?
So the question is in relation to Senate Bill 3, which is last year, and Senate Bill 279, which is from 2023. What issue is the prohibition on 3D printing of ghost guns in the state of Colorado solving? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for better or worse, I was bill sponsor in both of those. So Senate Bill 3 was my bill, along with Senator Gonzalez, Senator Sullivan, and then Representative Froelich in the House. That bill is primarily focused on the regulation of specified semi-automatic firearms in the state of Colorado. So particularly, those wouldn't be unserialized firearms, right? Those would be serialized firearms that you go to an FFL and buy. I will use the term assault weapon only in as much as it's culturally familiar, but it's not necessarily a good descriptor of those firearms. So it also applies to semi-automatic shotguns, certain semi-automatic pistols, which are very much like a semi-automatic AR-15, but with a much shorter stock to them. That is the first regulation of those firearms in the state of Colorado. Basically, what that bill mandates is a safety training and a permit to purchase program that other states have enacted with good efficacy. Those programs, those permit to purchase programs, have been shown to reduce the pathway of a firearm in the commission of a crime, and they also make sure that at the end of the day, if you possess a firearm that is uniquely capable of exacting damage that perhaps others are not, that you have some good training to be able to do that. Colorado only regulates that portion. Other states like Illinois and several other states have actually taken that permit to purchase program and applied it to all firearms. And those have been challenged constitutionally several times. The Supreme Court has 5 times declined to take up the case, and in federal court and district court, those laws have been upheld as constitutional. So just some context on that one. Senate Bill 279, which was the ghost guns bill from a couple of years ago, primarily referred to or was interested in regulating the ability to buy a ghost gun kit off the shelf. So you could buy those online. They would be like 90% or 70% receivers. Basically, with a drill press, you could take that lower, which is essentially the firearm, and with a handheld drill or a drill press, and about an hour's worth of time, you could turn that into an effective firearm that is unserialized in the state of Colorado. So that is not a value judgment, right? There are hobbyists and enthusiasts who like to enjoy doing that. You can still do that. It just has to be a serialized firearm at this point forward. And so that's one of the reasons why we regulated that space, is that we recognize that a good number of unserialized firearms were coming into the state of Colorado. When an unserialized firearm is found at the scene of a crime, it is very difficult for law enforcement to understand how it got there. And so on the back end of that, you have families wondering who should be held accountable for that act of violence. And on the front end of that, you have law enforcement saying, could you please help us with this problem? That bill was bipartisan, actually every place except for the Capitol. So we had John Helmer, Republican district attorney, testifying in support of that bill. We had Republican sheriffs, we had Republican district attorneys, we had Republican law enforcement coming and saying, please help us solve this issue. Since that time, the ability of 3D printing has expanded exponentially. What we didn't contemplate in particular was the ability to just print that at home. We gave a window to be able to serialize any unserialized firearms you might have in your possession as a result of 279, so you could be in compliance with the law. But what we recognize today is people are able to print those unserialized firearms very easily, essentially skirting the existing law. And perhaps not knowing that they have to do that, right? And so what this bill would do would be to address that gap, where we have, as a state, already said that if you own a firearm in our state, you should have a background check, and you should do all the things that anybody else should do, and there shouldn't be exceptions simply because you can self-manufacture a firearm in your own home. So that's the goal of the bill. Thank you so much.